Hey everybody, glad to see you again this Tuesday. Whoops. Joy and I are talking about bunny food and treats and hay tonight. So let me make sure everyone's getting on before we get started. Remember, you can ask your questions, and gosh, we had 82 last week. We ended up going almost an hour and a half.
So we'll try and keep it within our time frame, tonight. We do want to answer, and questions are open, so as far as that part is concerned. But tonight we are basically doing some back to basics, just the basic type of diet, what the bunnies need, because we do find that some people are asking us some of those questions. And this way, either you'll learn something new or you'll reaffirm that what you've been doing is correct.
And we do have a lot of new bunny odors this time of year too. So back to basics. So let's get started.
Okay.
So you want to start first and then we can move it as you talk about it?
We can probably do that. Basically, when it comes to the bunnies, you want to make sure, that they have a comfortable environment. We'll talk about housing at a different segment. But they do need to be comfortable and they do need to have a correct diet. So one of the things about rabbits that some people aren't aware of is, they go back to the European wild rabbit. So their ancestry is the European wild rabbit, which digs these vast underground tunnels called warrens. And they spend most of their time down in these warrens. They're most active at dusk and dawn. It's called crepuscular. And the reason they are most active at dusk and dawn is because at dawn, the nighttime predators go home. The daytime predators haven't quite come out yet. Those predators don't want to meet each other. So it leaves this little window of opportunity for these small animals to come out, eat like crazy, poop, pee, get back down into those tunnels, okay? So they're going to be gorging out there. And nature says, what you eat out there is not all that high in nutrition. And we've got to help you feed yourself while you're down there because you're just like a horse. A horse has to have its gut in motion 24 hours a day. It never stops. With a horse, if it stops, it's called colic, and that horse can be dead within a few hours. The rabbits can sometimes take a little bit longer, sometimes even shorter, but they call it gastrointestinal stasis in a rabbit, or gut stasis. And so if that gut stops moving, they're not going to die of, starvation or anything like that. They're going to die because the gut has stopped moving. So now, even though they're down there in those tunnels and they're only eating like twice a day, they've got to have that gut in motion 24 hours a day. So when that rabbit goes down and out and gorges and it comes in, the first half of the day or the first half of the night, the stomach is busy breaking down what it can, but it can't break down all of the vitamins and minerals. So it breaks down what it can, sends that on to the body to be absorbed as nutrition. Takes the waste matter, sends it on so it can be eliminated later on. Then what it can't break down, it sends to an organ called the cecum. In us, the cecum is our appendix, totally worthless. In them, a very highly evolved organ. So the second half of the day, second half of the night, the cecum is busy breaking down what the stomach couldn't, coats it with the digestive bacteria that the rabbit's stomach can now handle, presents it back to the rabbit in the form of cecotropes. So you can see that little bunny duck down and come up munching and people, I'm going to see this poop. No, he's not. He's eating his cecotropes. Okay? The poops are the little hard, round, dry, cocoa puffs. They're like 95% fiber. Pick them up, throw them back in the litter box. Okay, it's not like dog and cat stuff. Yeah. So, but the cecum, what it produces, the cecotropes, that's a little bit different. It kind of looks like a little cluster of dark brown or dark green grapes. And as each little segment emerges, the bunny will duck down, like I said, come up munching. And they're pretty discreet about it. They're just going, they don't really like munching around all day. And, swallow that because now it has the proper coating bacteria, digestive bacteria, that the stomach can now digest that part of the vitamins and minerals. So the second half of the day, second half of the night, then the cecotropes are what's providing the nutrition for the bunnies. So you never want to take those away, but they should be, firm, and should have had a picture for them, for tonight. But I was thinking about that particularly. I was thinking most about the food. But at any rate, we'll think about bringing that onto the next segment. But they need to have that. If they are getting a bad diet, wrong food, too much food, then that cecum is starting to get out of whack, and it'll start producing a tar-like substance, and that's going to stick to the bunny's butt, and you have to get it washed off, and it's worse than cleaning a baby's diaper. It is so gross, okay? But you have to get it off of there. You continue down that wrong path, now you could have more like a diarrhea type substance. You're on your way to killing your bunny. If they get way too much starch, sugar, that type of thing, you can have the bad bacteria outpopulate the good bacteria, and you're have an overgrowth of Clostridium. And that can end up, again, that's C. diff, that's deadly. So
Bottom line, you should never see them. If you see them, you know you have a problem, right?
that's true. Now, initially, sometimes some bunnies will overproduce, and that means you're probably overfeeding. And sometimes they'll use it for marking territory. So it depends if you got like multiple bunnies or what have you. But for the vast majority of the bunnies, you should not see those cecotropes. They should be re-ingesting them. If you are overfeeding them with pelleted food, well, the pelleted food is kind of like mashed potatoes and gravy. And the cecum, or the cecotropes, are kind of like broccoli. Okay, so the bunnies are going to go after the tastier things, and they're going to leave the cecotropes, like I said, sit. They're going to step on them, going to squish, and like I said, then it gets the whole 9 yards gets super messy. You can also end up killing your rabbit by overfeeding them with fat content. I once saw a lady come in to the clinic where we go to, and her bunny had quit eating, and we expected to see more like a gut stasis or something. The x-ray was just absolutely flabbergasting. The bunny was so full of interior fat. So when we get overweight, we just kind of expand this way, okay. But the bunnies not only expand that way, they expand internally as well.
Right.
And this poor little bunny, the stomach had actually been squished flat by fat. The diaphragm had been squished upward from fat. The kidneys had been pushed apart from fat. It looked like somebody taken a trowel and just layered fat inside that bunny's body. She basically fed her bunny to death. So, you want to make sure that your bunny has a really good quality, diet. And I'm going to actually start off with that diet with water. They need, a 5-pound rabbit is estimated to drink as much water as a 20-pound dog. They need lots and lots of water. Their diet is dry. So, no water bottles, okay? I'm sitting on the opposite side now. I keep wanting to go the other way. Okay, so no water. There are no water bottles in nature. Nowhere, okay? And then you figure out, that 20-pound dog, how much water it's going to drink. This isn't going to cut it, okay? We give that poor little bunny dry pelleted food, dry hay, and we condemn them to 1 drop of water at a time. How cruel is that? Would you do it? You want to go to the faucet, turn it on at a drip, and that's all you get is 1 drop of water at a time. I mean, this is really cruel. Then you've got this going on. Constantly, because they never get enough water to hydrate their body or quench their thirst, they it's driving me crazy. If you don't do this right, it all leaks out. Okay. And one of our members just recently told me that they almost lost their first bunny because the ball got stuck in there, and they didn't realize it for 3 days.
That's terrible.
When the bunny was actually getting limp from dehydration, and they rushed it into the vet's office, that's when they found out what was going on, and went back and discovered, and it just had noticed that water's fine. Wait, okay, why is the water fine? Yeah. But again, there's so many things to learn, especially if you're a new bunny owner. So it's just things that you need to take into consideration.
And that's why we're doing these segments.
Yes. Rabbits lap water like a horse. They suck water like a horse, in the members. They do not lap water like a dog or a cat. So we need to have them with just a nice, heavy crockery bowl. Now, nothing plastic or lightweight metal, because bunnies like toys. So if they can pick it up and toss it, it's a Frisbee, okay? So this is nice, heavy, and it's flat. They can't knock it over. And if you've got a big bunny or a pair of bunnies, well then, let's see.
You need a bigger bowl.
You need a bigger bowl, okay? So big ceramic dishes at the pet store can get a little pricey, So how about just a nice, casserole dish, okay? So this could be Goodwill, garage sale, Costco, could be grandma's cupboard. She's not using it anymore, but it's got this nice wide flat bottom. They can't knock it over. Never glass. If that breaks, that's going to be shards, splinters. That bunny steps in it, cleans his little paw, dead rabbit, okay? So nice, heavy crockery. If these do break, they break apart in chunks, okay? So we want to make sure that, bunny has plenty of water. Like I said, dry pellets, dry hay, they need a lot of water to hydrate their body. And, if we can give our bunny, our dog or cat fresh water every day, there's absolutely no excuse for not giving our bunny fresh water every day.
And we fill these before we leave at night and come back in the morning, and they're nearly
yes.
empty. So,
and then we get, to the pelleted food. Pelleted food needs is really only a very small part of their diet. The bottom part, 80% of their diet is hay. Hay, 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 and more hay. So let me grab my little bunny friend here. Okay, so they need to eat their body size in hay every day, okay? Not their weight, but their body size, okay? So we need to provide them with a lot of hay every single day. And like I said, 80%. Okay. Okay. She's grabbing one of our hay racks, that we use. All right. So this is what we make these, and we use these because we want to make sure they not only get all the hay that they need, but, and if you can go out and buy bales of hay, we just do not have really super good quality hay in our geographical area. So we end up bringing our hay in from places where it is good hay. But we want to make sure that our bunny, has got plenty of hay. And if you can buy bales of hay, that you're in that kind of a country where you've got really good quality hay, yeah, you can line your, litter box with it, because the waste, it may not matter to you. Here, it matters to us, So we don't want the bunny pooping and peeing on it, because then they're not going to eat it. So we make these baskets. They have nice long, prongs on them. It hangs over the litter box, so they get that litter box kind of like fiber in, fiber out, just like when they come out of those tunnels. We have a lid on it because a lot of the little bunnies like to jump in there, and then they'll sit in there and poop and pee while they eat their hay. So we don't want that happening either. Okay, it's got nice, openings here,
we have
so that
4 of them.
Yep, whether it's full or almost empty. Okay, and I do tell people, if you're OCD about cleanliness, don't get a bunny. Okay, because if she lowers that down, you get lots of hay. Hay is everywhere. It's in your hair. It's in your clothes.
But that's why we do it over the litter box.
And that's why we hang this over the litter box. It does catch at least some of the, the hay. And now they've got plenty of hay for the entire day. So if you're at work or whatever, your bunny's got plenty of hay all day. And the same thing at night. Bunny's got plenty of hay all night long. So it's crucial that they have that hay. It's just 24/7. Every minute of the day, there should be hay in front of that bunny, so that they always have that option of eating that hay. Okay? And the hay is really important, except for 3 different reasons. They groom themselves like cats do. So the cats, when they ingest that fur, they can throw up that fur ball. The rabbits can't. It's that heavy browse that pushes it through the other way. Okay. Then they have to have their gut in motion, which we already talked about. And that heavy browse, that is very slow to digest too. So that is now, helping them keep that gut in motion again, 24 hours a day, because it's very slow to digest. It's very high in fiber, so they need a very high in fiber, diet. And then the third reason they need that hay is for their back teeth. Rabbits and horses, all of their teeth grow their entire lifetime. So when they're eating pelleted food, they're just doing this. Give your hands over here again, this way, okay? When they're eating their hay, they're doing this. So they're now wearing down those back teeth. And that's really critical, because those back teeth can develop things like molar spurs, and that can end up killing them. Once it hurts badly enough, that point is starting to poke into the tongue or the cheek, the rabbit's again going to quit eating. So the more hay, let's just tell people, the more hay the bunny eats, the better a hay eater they are, the likelier, the healthier they're going to be. It's not an absolute, but it certainly goes a long way.
Well, I picked a bunny up that wasn't getting hay and was getting bad food, which we'll show you in a minute. And the teeth actually started growing over the tongue and in the tongue. When I picked it up, it was making like a smacking noise. Yeah. And at first I didn't realize what was happening. And then I seen drool, and we opened up the mouth and could see that the teeth had done that. And it was strictly because poor diet and no hay. Yeah. So that was really bad. That was really, really bad.
So you can see those things. So before we talk about that, we're going to, if you want to take that, and we'll show them some different kinds of hay. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to turn you guys over here.
All right. You can end up seeing this. Probably close it over. So Timothy hay is probably one of the most common that, that's available, and ones that the bunnies seem to actually like the most. So there's actually a thing called first cutting, second cutting, and third cutting hay. And the first cutting simply means the first time they cut the field, which is generally sometime in June. So hay is nothing more than a grass that is, like that tall. So I tell people, think about your lawn. When you keep your lawn cut, it is just leaf. But if you let it go for a little bit, you got stems and wavy seed heads. So first cutting hay, okay, you can get this, or Bobbie, if you want to hold that up closer to there, okay. If you can see that, this is really all stem and seed heads. Can you show them the seed head?
That is right.
There should be plenty of them in there.
Yeah, right here.
Okay, get one, okay. See that little seed head? So that's also the, the pollens. And if you are really, really allergic to them, then you might end up looking at a third cut. But let me go here to the second cut next. Okay, so a second cutting is generally going to be, a little leafier, a little greener, but it can still have stems and seed heads, okay? So, and this is fine, and a lot of bunnies really like this. So this is what I usually, recommend because we want the bunnies eating a lot of it. Some bunnies actually prefer the coarse hay. This is great because this is really good fiber, really great for their teeth, okay? But if the bunny doesn't like the really coarse stuff, then really try that second cutting because, again, they need some of those stems and seed heads, Now, for the few people, that are like super, super allergic and really want, their bunnies anyway, a third cutting, if you can get it, is a lot softer. And, it's just basically, leaf. I have really terrible allergies, so I took my allergy medicine before I even came near this hay. But the third cut, I can actually put my face in a box of it and it doesn't bother me. Okay. So another kind of hay that's really good for them is orchard. So if you want to put orchard over there, show them that. That's a really nice, soft orchard hay. And orchard is another, really, really good one for them. Another hay that some people will use. Now this is called prairie grass. Sometimes it's mountain grass. And, it doesn't look quite as green as the other stuff, but it is just as good. And it's very, very high in that one.
Ooh, that smells really good.
So very, very nice hay, okay? Some people who have allergies also end up using oat hay, or they'll use oat hay as, because it's lots of fiber. And again, some of the bunnies really like the oat hay, but we use it more, a lot of it as treat here, because we like to give our bunnies some variety, but it doesn't have the allergy factors that, the Timothy can have. So some people prefer to go to the oat hay for their bunny. And again, it has lots and lots of nice fiber in it. And, and these are little oat growths, so they really like those little things there. One thing I don't want people to get is alfalfa. Okay, alfalfa is a legume. It is not a grass hay. And it is very, very high in protein. And the bunnies do not need high protein. They're not predators. They need fiber. So this particular hay here, okay. And like I said, it's great as a treat, okay? And it's got, so it's got smaller leaves. You can see that, okay? And, now if you've got the twigs in there, or the stems, those are much more higher, boy, talk about English here. Those are higher in fiber. So we want to, you can give those, like I said, you can give a little handful as a treat, for them, because they do like it, but it is not the basis of their diet, okay? They should only have a grass hay as the 80% portion of their diet. This is completely separate. So when it comes to the pelleted food, now the pelleted food we need because I mentioned, they're out in the wild, they're foraging around, they're doing different things, as far as, getting at different food. But as soon as you put a horse in a stall or a rabbit in a cage and hay becomes the main source of their browse, you are now limiting them to whatever vitamins and minerals happen to be in that hayfield. So that's why they get a supplement. Now that horse only gets a quart of grain for that 1,000-pound body, okay? You overfeed a horse and like I said, they're gonna die of founder or colic, So you cannot overfeed a horse. It is, again, but the same thing is true with the bunny. And if you overfeed them, it's a problem if you feed them wrong things. They need a pellet, just a plain pellet that is very, very high in fiber, very low in fat content. Okay, so when we look at our food, we're looking at them for longevity. Okay, we're not looking at producing meat and fur. We're wanting a long-term, situation for our bunny. So we want a nice plain pellet that is very high in fiber, low in fat content, and low in protein. So generally speaking, a high protein food is one that generally has about 16% protein, 16, 17, 18. Those are all very high. 5% fat content is a pretty high fat content. So things like, anything that has seeds, nuts, whole kernel corn, again, these are not rodents. They're lagomorphs, they're like a horse. And so things that are out there can end up being, they look good to us, and that's the issue. Manufacturers know that we're omnivores, so we like color, we like variety, and we really get turned on by marketing buzzwords. So some of the names that that you'll see out there really attract our attention. But you've got to be looking at it for the bunny, not for you. You're not the one eating it. So when you see, lots of carrot pieces, starchy pieces, starch converts to sugar, sugar causes arthritis or inflammation of the gut. Okay, any kind of nuts, all of these little things. It's like, okay, we're not a cardinal. Cardinals love sunflower seeds. A rabbit should maybe have 1 or 2 a week if given this a treat. Whole kernel corn can block them up and digest. They cannot digest that. Okay, when it comes right down to it, we don't digest cooked corn very well. Okay, It's kind of a little gross, but it's like, this is the way things are. Then you can find, sugar pieces in there. Dried fruit. There's crushed corn. All of these things. This one here. This has got little tiny seeds in it. Okay,
It looks like birdseed.
Well, it does. This is what the doves eat out off my back porch when I put off. They eat this, and the cardinals come by, and they get these bigger ones.
Really looks like birdseed, actually.
And so it's what most people think of when they look at that particular thing. And then so we want to make sure it is, again, a good quality pelleted food. You're looking at something that is high in fiber, so you're looking at something that is probably 18 to 30% fiber. And you want low fat content, so somewhere around 1.5 to 2%, 2.5% fat content, and the protein content should generally be somewhere between 12 and 14%. Is pretty much standard. So unless there's some other reasons for it, I've seen a couple of foods that because of the way they're made have a little bit higher, but they digest it, process easier, so it's not as bad as some other things. Again, it's a little bit difficult to go through these things, but pretty much you're still looking at a plain pellet. Same thing is true when you're looking at your treats. Things that, crunchy things. This is nothing but loaded with seeds that are kind of like glued together, And it's like, really, would you really want to give that to your bunny? And I have to say, this is one of the things I gave my bunny when I first started.
Same.
Yogurt drops. Oh, that should be nice and healthy. Okay, they're not dairy eaters. That's one. When I mentioned that the food was bad at 5% fat content, one of the boxes over there that's got those on here, 24% fat content. 24%. Okay. And literally, that's when my first bunny started getting sick. It's like I started looking at all the things I was giving that, and starting to get goopy poops. It's like, and
mine were purple.
Yes.
They were purple.
Yeah. And all of this, it's just a matter of learning, okay? So we really want to try to make sure. And then we're only going to give them, I thought I brought in the other scoop too, but I didn't, 1/8 of a cup, and actually 1/8 of a cup to a 1/4 cup. So this is a 1/4 cup, this is a 1/4 cup, and it looks so pitiful in there, especially when your bunny finishes it and asking you for more. This is a vitamin tablet. It is not food.
But I would
their
like to
hay
show them.
is their food. Okay.
Do you see there's no colorful, pretty things in there? That's the kind of food they should have, not the colorful, which I'm looking at this. What is this even?
I'm not even sure.
I don't even know what this thing is.
And sometimes you find beans in there that
I
you
know.
can't break with a hammer.
I don't
Okay?
even know what this thing is.
It's like, why would you know? It's like, oh my gosh, But again, people see variety and it's like, oh, okay. And then, or some of them, like, you've got some pellets in there. Or if this is supposed to be hay, really? Okay.
That's straw.
Yeah, well, first of all, yeah, it does look like straw, but it's totally insufficient.
Yeah.
Your bunny still has to have hay, 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 and more hay, okay? And if I want to give them leaves or what, I can go get it myself. So, even if that's, an herb or something, it's a matter of, you can do these, herbs yourself. You can find all of those, out there as making your own botanical hay, even with some of the herbs that you can find, dry herbs or fresh herbs, But going back to, this is a vitamin tablet, okay? So think about it. You wouldn't take, a whole jar of vitamins every day. You wouldn't feed your children a whole jar of vitamin tablets every day. Why would we do that with our bunnies, okay? So we want to make sure that they are just getting what they need as a vitamin supplement, okay? So your food is a supplement. It's not their food. Hay is their food. Hay, 80%. Hay, 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 and more hay, okay? Let's see. So one of the things that we want to kind of just touch base on, because I don't have them all sitting out here, things that are really, really bad for them. Okay, no chocolate, okay, just like you do and give your dog or that. No, we do not want to give them the yogurt drops. No cereal. Everybody wants to give them Cheerios. It's like, no, that's not good. One Cheerio, maybe once, but you give them a handful of stuff, you are now giving them tons of starch, okay? Crackers, cookies, okay? And, what about, the slice of apple? Yes, a little slice of apple is fine. No seeds. Apple seeds have cyanide in them, so you don't want to be doing that to your bunny, okay? No pasta, again, that's all starch. No bread, starch, okay? And we've got, let's see, any of the human foods that, so it's like, no, don't give them part of your cupcake or something like that. These are really, really bad for rabbits. You want to make sure that your bunny stays healthy. So that's a huge, huge, part of it. Greens, and I can bring them out here. I'm going to touch base on those. Just a handful, okay? If they get too many greens, they will ignore their hay. And the hay, again, is really important for their digestive system, their teeth, keeping everything, in motion.
So show them your little.
Oh, my, thing. That was just kind of like my thing there, but we can always take a picture and post it.
Yeah, it's a pyramid she
Right.
made, so you can see how much of everything they're supposed to get.
So it's just a small amount of that treat. We like giving them treats, and it's fine. I encourage giving them a treat morning and evening. In a non-COVID world, everybody's headed out to school or headed off to work in the morning. You want to make sure your bunny's eating. It's a nice idea to give them a little treat because they're like children. If they turn up their nose at dessert, there's a problem, okay? And same way at night, you don't want to bother, if they're sleeping, it's like, and they're not doing anything, you're waiting around, are you eating, okay? But if you're giving them that little treat before you go to bed and they, gobble it down, things fine. If they turn up their nose again, you've got a problem. And we can use illnesses as a different, subject on a different day. But right now, the greens that I mentioned is just a handful. They can have any kind of a lettuce except iceberg, okay? Iceberg really doesn't have any nutrition in it and has a tendency to cause diarrhea, so you really want to avoid that. But, there's lots of those lists. You can go out on a lot of the bunny lists and find, what's appropriate, greens to give them, so you can do, cilantro and kale and parsley. There's, like I said, there's a variety of things, out there, just so long as you're not overdoing it. Because again, if they overdo the greens, they will ignore their hay, and they really have to have their hay. So, I think we've covered, like I said, at least the basic part of that. Okay.
So we have some questions. The first one is, are colored bell peppers okay?
Oh, okay. Yellow, red, orange, yes, I mean, they're okay. I really stay away from the green. This is just me. Basically, anything at all that will make you burp, do not give to your bunny. They cannot burp and they cannot throw up. So if they cannot burp and you give them stuff that creates gas in their stomach, they're just going to go. And now you've got a sick bunny. So, things like, obviously, I mean, most people wouldn't even think of like onions, but you've got, Peter Rabbit, the cabbage patch. Okay, no cabbage. Okay, they could have that dark green outer leaf, but not that white cabbage. Again, think of how that, comes back on you, or the gas that it creates. Okay, radishes, and anything like that. If it makes you burp, do
Excuse me.
not give it to the bunnies. No beans, obviously, and starchy foods as well. So things like, potatoes, peas, like I said, again, even fresh corn, that's all starch. Converts to sugar. Sugar causes enteritis or an inflammation of the gut. Okay. So again, you don't want to be giving them anything at all like that. So basically, sticking to your nice dark leafy greens and things that are on the vegetable list, are good. Oh, carrot. That's a vegetable. It's too high in sugar. It's a treat. Goes on the treat section where they can have just a baby carrot or a little 1-inch chunk of a regular, carrot. They can have the dark leafy greens on the carrots. Those are great. But the carrot itself, that's a treat. It's way too high in sugar. Okay.
Right. The next one is, sorry, that hay is getting my allergies.
Oh, yeah. Spread it all around.
Is there a brand of food that you suggest that doesn't contain soy?
There are a couple of grain-free products out there. We're not really supposed to promote any particular manufacturer or food type of product. We will keep your question and respond to you separately. Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Woo. Yeah.
All right. Next one is, do you like the Oxbow pellet brands?
There's several that are really good. Oxbow has a good reputation. They put a lot of research into their pellets.
Okay. There's just a lot of people saying hi to us. So, whoops. We lost. There we go. I think that's all the questions.
Okay. So you want to talk a little bit about the teen segment we're going to start including?
You might have to, since my
Okay.
allergies are getting
Thank
me.
goodness I took my allergy tablet. Okay.
Ooh.
One of the things that we do want to try to do as well, and I met Michael on our last program, and we are going to do a little teen segment within our show, so that if your teens, you want to talk to another teen, ask questions, that just so you can see, we have a variety of people here, all ages. Right now during COVID at our shelter, we're only doing basically 14 and over, but. 9 COVID times, we had lots of parents and younger children here too. But right now it's the teens. But a lot of teens, because they like their bunnies, and that we want to have somebody that can respond to you on your own level.
And I think we're going to have some volunteers that our teens come with Michael. So you have two of them, two different people to talk to about it.
Right. Yep.
So I think that's,
Okay.
I think we're good. And we'll respond to you privately on the other question
Right.
about.
Because
the brand of
there is
food.
some stuff, but like I said, we're just not supposed to be talking brand names. All right.
Okay. We will see you guys next
See ya.
Tuesday.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. You know what I was thinking too?